The following is a presentation of the Eagles Sports Network.
Richard Martin here, welcoming you to the newest edition of Mossy Creek Conversations, and I'm here with former Carson-Newman women's soccer star Christie Murray. Christie, how are you doing today?
I'm great, thank you. I'm great. How are you?
I am doing fantastic, getting ready for a new season over here. Christie, you come all the way from Scotland, and that's a lot different than Jefferson City, Tennessee. But growing up in Scotland, in your brief time here in America, what were some of the differences you really saw between, growing up in Scotland and then living in America?
I think in terms of like a student athlete, you guys are so big on athleticism. At the point and when I came over, that was one of the main reasons why I wanted to come, because I could literally be a full-time athlete and study, which was amazing, and it kind of almost set me on the right path to like being a good professional. I was surrounded by a lot of really good people, so in that sense it was very similar to home. So many of the people took me under their wing and looked after me. It was a very friendly place to be, and in terms of what was different, probably the weather. I found that quite difficult to adjust to initially. The really hot weather. But it was nice. It was a nice change, because obviously in Scotland it's probably windy and rainy most of the time. So yeah, I would say that's probably a few little kind of differences between both.
Awesome. Well, of course, let's just kind of go for your career. And you're probably wondering, how does someone from Scotland come over to Jefferson City, Tennessee? You're actually with the Scotland under-17s when you were scouted by Carson-Newman College at the time. How'd that whole process kind of work for you getting to Jefferson City?
It was a bit random, actually, and almost by chance. Philip McNamara was the coach at that point, and I was actually playing with Scotland under-17s, as you said earlier. And my parents had travelled down to Bristol to watch the tournament, and they went into a cafe literally before our game and happened to bump into Phil and just had a brief chat with him, and they were like, "You're Irish, what are you doing in Scotland?" And he was saying, "Oh, I'm actually scouting. I'm a coach in America and I'm scouting for some players for the up and coming year." And they obviously then said that I played for Scotland. And then he was like, "Oh, what's her name? I'll keep an eye out." And then after the game, he came up and I said, "Look, I'd be really interested in speaking to Christie and getting her out for this coming year to play for our women's soccer team." So then, and that's kind of literally how it happened. So it was very literally by chance, and fortunately I played quite well, I think, in the tournament. And Phil was willing to give me an opportunity to come out and play for Carson-Newman, which I was absolutely over the moon about. Obviously being given that opportunity. So yeah, that's kind of how it came about.
That's awesome. Well, you moved over at a young age, just 16 years old. Was there kind of like trepidation? Like, how were you scared? Were you excited when you had to move across the entire ocean to come play at a new school?
Yeah, I think at the point in when the tournament was, I was only 15. So I'd turned 16 in the May and then came out to America in the July or end of June. So I think looking back on it now, I'm like, how did I manage to move across the world at 16? I was more excited about just being able to play football every day, to learn and obviously be a full-time athlete. So for me, I was more excited, but I think it kind of hit me when I got on the flight to come out. I was like, oh my God, I am straight in the deep end and totally out my comfort zone. But it was definitely the best thing that happened to me at that point in my life. It was a brilliant opportunity that I really couldn't turn down.
Awesome. Well, that team that you played for was coming off a very, very successful season where they made the NCAA Division II Final Four. The next year, you come out 2006, and just another great season under Coach McNamara, as you said, where you go to the SAC tournament, make another run, and lose early on, unfortunately, in the NCAA tournament, but 17-2-1, and there are just a whole slew of honors for that one. Rebecca Angus was the female athlete of the year for the South Atlantic Conference. Rebecca Nolf was the tournament MVP, and then you yourself were a second team all-conference member. Just what are your memories from that team, and just how great was that team when you played with them?
Oh, brilliant. I mean, when I first got out to America and then started training with the girls, it was just like, these are the kind of people that I want to be around. You know, Becky was such a great striker and always kind of was going to score goals. She was so powerful and direct, and it was brilliant for me to play alongside her. I mean, there was so many, Brittany Moore, Shay, Jessie, like Becca, as you said as well. Like, there was so many great players in the team, and for me to be surrounded by them all was just brilliant, because they were all good professionals, and for me as a young player to play alongside them, Julie Nelson as well, and a nationalist, like, for me it was absolutely brilliant.
Absolutely. And you scored 6 goals in that one season, just a fantastic season from yourself. Is there any goal that you can think of that really sticks out to you from your time at Carson-Newman as one of your favorites?
Probably the one, I would think there was one where Becky and I had combined. I don't know if I scored or she scored, but it was just a nice move. And I really enjoyed that one. I can't remember if I scored on that, but I just enjoyed like how the connection of the goal. So, but yeah, I've got so many fond memories from playing, obviously, for Carson-Newman.
Awesome. Well, after Carson-Newman, of course, success continued from there, nowhere but up. You go back across the water and you start your career with Queen's Park before joining Celtic in 2007. Just again, you're still young. You're about 17 years old. Do you feel like there was a lot of pressure on you to kind of succeed since you had gone to America and had such a great college career at such a young age?
I don't know. I think like definitely not from my family or anything. They were very supportive. I think any pressure came from myself. Like, that was probably the biggest pressure. Because I'd obviously been out and experienced America, and I wanted to be able to come back and make an impact in Scotland and continue to push to play for the national team. So yeah, I would say the biggest pressure was from myself and I've also got very high standards of myself, and sometimes it's probably been a little bit more patient with myself when I was younger. So so yeah, it definitely put me in the right kind of stead going into obviously senior football when I came back from America.
All right. And then, of course, play for a few years with Celtic, and then you go to Glasgow City, and that's when you really start to take off. In your 3 years there, you had 24 goals with Glasgow City, and you reached the Champions League round of 16. Just kind of talk about, how big it was for you to finally you get on this bigger stage and you start scoring goals. Just, feelings there, and some of your teammates. How was just playing with such a great team and being consistently manager, and you were very impressive during your time in Glasgow.
Yeah, I think for me that was one of the reasons why I left Celtic. I'm obviously a big Celtic fan, so for me to leave them was quite a big decision. But at that point, and still now, Glasgow City are the top team. They play in the Champions League, and that was a massive attraction for me because I wanted to be able to test myself on the highest stage for club football. So to obviously go and play for Glasgow City for 3 years and to win everything domestically and to add more goals to my game was brilliant, and to surround myself with people who were like really good top professionals and internationals was brilliant for me. And I've got so many fond memories. I think to reach the last 32, which was the first time ever, sorry, excuse me, was brilliant because that was a point where our families could come and watch the games. There was a home and away leg, and it was very exciting. So yeah, for me, I've got so many fond memories, probably some of my best memories in football. And I was surrounded by my friends as well, which was brilliant. So to kind of experience all that with my friends was special.
So you were very impressive, Glasgow. You were, when you had a round of 16 defeat by Arsenal, you impressed, Shelley Kerr, the English club's manager, and they swooped you up right after that. I was playing for Arsenal, which, as a lot of people may know, is just one of the most recognizable names internationally in all of soccer.
Yeah, that was amazing. Like, Arsenal was a team I grew up kind of as a young female watching. The women's team was a team that I'd always dreamed of playing for. So to be given the opportunity to join Arsenal was literally a dream come true. So and then to work alongside Shelley, someone who I massively respect in football, was great. And I had another fellow Scot that was playing with me as well, Emma Mitchell. So that was a nice familiar face. But to play for such a big iconic club in women's football and obviously in men's football was literally a dream come true.
Awesome. So keep moving on in your career, get back to Celtic, but then you end up at Doncaster Rovers Bells, 26 appearances, 7 goals there. But then around this time, you start to make your debut for the senior side of the Scottish national team. And your first goal for the national team is an amazing goal. So it was April 5th, 2012. There is video of this, and I watched it right before this interview. It's a fantastic goal. You come off the bench and score the game winner against the Republic of Ireland in the Euro qualifiers. Just what was your feeling, when you got the call that you were going to come up to the senior team, and then just in your first game to have a game winner in such a big matchup?
I think I'd actually been in the squad for a couple of years, but it was just in and out of the national team. So that was like an actual qualifier. So to come off, I think I felt like I'd trained quite well, and I was hoping that maybe I would get an opportunity to come on the pitch. So we were actually down 1-0. I came on, and I think we managed to grab an equaliser, and literally from the opposition taking centre, we won the ball back and we broke, and I scored my first goal. Best feeling ever. Just going for my country, and it happened to be the winner, which was amazing, and it kind of kept the campaign alive, because had we lost, it would probably be the end of the campaign for the World Cup. So yeah, it's something like just you can't beat it. It's going for your country and being able to represent my country in big games is always something I've dreamed of. So yeah, it's a special memory definitely for me.
We'll continue on talking about playing for your country. This has to be such a big sense of pride when you get to play for your country, and just being selected, not just to when you finally move up the ranks to the senior team, just kind of, how'd that get started? And then, how much work did you have to put in to finally make it to that senior team?
A lot. I think obviously growing up, like even when I came to America, like one of the decisions that would have held me back a little bit from moving was being able to play for my national team, because at that point there wasn't really much funding. So when I did come out to Carson-Newman, I wasn't allowed to play for Scotland because there wasn't enough money to fly me back and forth. So when the season finished at Carson-Newman, I kind of decided that I wanted to go back and fight for opportunity to play for the national team. So I played through my age groups right up until under 19s, and then joined the National Performance Centre, which was for like talented up and coming players for the national team. So that's the kind of route that I took, and I just had to be playing consistently for my club, and playing well, and just kind of hoping and waiting for an opportunity. And then when it came, it was just like making sure that I gave absolutely everything when I was on the camp. So yeah, definitely make a lot of sacrifices, but it's the same for the highest level of anything that you do. So and it's absolutely worth it.
That's awesome. That's really fun. But continue on with your club career, back at Glasgow City, and then you go to Liverpool, and you played with Liverpool again, another recognizable name internationally. Just kind of, again, you're back in the Premier League. You get to play some of the best in all of the world. What was it like just playing for, again, another recognizable name such as Liverpool?
And yeah, they're a huge club. For me, I'd actually played for Doncaster Bells, and the manager that I'd worked under briefly there in the kind of last couple of months got the job at Liverpool, and he phoned me, and we had a great relationship. So for me, that was also, whilst Liverpool was a huge club, like that was, relationships are massive in football, and he was one that valued me and I felt like he could get the best out of me. So that was another attraction for me joining Liverpool. So yeah, I enjoyed my time there, and obviously playing again in the WSL, which is for me one of the best leagues, I think, club-wise in the world. So yeah, it was obviously a massive honour for me to play again for 2 years for Liverpool.
Awesome, and make the decision. You leave Liverpool and you go to Birmingham City, where you are now. What was the decision making behind leaving Liverpool to go to Birmingham City?
I think kind of like game time was massive, and my last year at Liverpool, I wasn't really playing much, and I felt like for me again, like I just wanted to be playing somewhere that I was valued and was going to be an important part of the team. In Birmingham at that point, last season they'd got a manager in that actually again got on very well with after I joined. So yeah, it was more of an opportunity. That was the biggest thing, and to continue playing and at the highest level, obviously in the WSL. So and I felt like last season it was a really good year, despite it obviously being quite tough, and we fought very hard to stay up. But it was it was a really good season, and one that I'll look back on fondly.
As you mentioned, you're getting ready for the preseason, much like Carson-Newman is getting ready for the preseason here in a couple of weeks. Just what type of training goes at this club level to get back into shape, get back in the fitness level, and just get ready for another season?
Probably a little bit different from what I remember the Carson-Newman days. We had 3 training sessions in a day in pre-season in that heat. I'll never forget it. It definitely made me very grounded. It was up at 8 o'clock in the morning, out for a run, then on the pitch later on, and then a pitch session in the evening. So at Birmingham, we've had our off-season programmes for like 3-4 weeks to be doing. We met up last week for our first day, which was just like fitness testing, and then the last couple of days have been on the ball. So this week I think things will start to kick on. We'll have lots of ball work, but I will definitely presume that we'll have a lot more running to do, and then in the gym. So just head down and working hard.
So Simon Duffy, if you're listening or watching this, just know all the professionals run too. We see them running out there a lot during the preseason. But you know, you wear the number 10 jersey, and for those who don't know, in soccer, that is one of the biggest regards. It's kind of like in basketball, the number 23 jersey has been made so big. Number 10 is for really your strikers, your playmakers. Messi, Ronaldinho, with just some of the players that wore number 10. How does it feel for you to be honored with the number 10 jersey?
Oh, massive. It was a huge privilege, obviously, for me. At the point when I joined the club, I think it was free. So they were like, what would you like? And obviously that one was available. And I was like, I'd absolutely love that one if I can have it. So yeah, like you say, it's a massive number. It's an iconic number in football. Some of my favourite players that I've ever loved watching, wore it. So for me, that's obviously, it's nice to be able to wear that every week.
So going back to a different topic, this Olympics, at least in the U.S., you've seen a lot of people focusing on the mental health of athletes and trying to improve mental health. Are there times where you have felt like, hey, my mental health's off today? And how have you looked to kind of improve that for you? And what would you have to say to any players that maybe either at college or just in the U17s, just kind of growing up, as you said, if they feel like there's a lot of pressure on them to succeed?
Yeah, I think that's something that, again, still needs a bit more work and help around that area, especially in professional sport and just in general in life. I think within our club right now, we've actually got a chaplain. So we've got someone that if we do have something that we'd like to speak about, and whether it be football or non-football related, that we've got that kind of point of call to go and kind of have that obviously quiet chat and ask for some advice if we need it. For me personally, like my family's definitely my rock, when it comes to obviously dealing with any kind of tough situations. Like I know that if I need something and need almost like the hard truths, I can go to them and get that kind of feedback. But in the same breath, like if I need an arm around me and like just some care and somebody to listen, then they're always there. But I think definitely in football, I think there's got to be some more work and support systems put in place to help athletes deal with pressure and deal with loads of various situations that can be, again, on the pitch or off the pitch, whether it's confidence or dealing with like personal issues with identity, sexuality, anything like that. And I think that if you've got that kind of support there, it will definitely allow you to push on and be the best version of yourself on the pitch as well. So it's something that obviously for me, I think I would love to see more of it, because there's just so many people struggling at the moment with mental health issues, and COVID I don't think's helped that either.
Absolutely. We'll look around your career, of course, different clubs, different coaches. First of all, let's talk about Phil McNamara. He only, again, scouted you kind of on just a whim, as you said. What are some of your memories of Coach McNamara, and how you think about him during your time?
No, he's a great guy. He's a great guy. He obviously gave me my first opportunity in football, so I'm obviously so grateful for that. I think because I was a young player, he always he made sure that he was in contact with my parents and that I was getting looked after. And for me, obviously, I've got so much respect for him for that. In terms of a footballer, he definitely helped me. I think obviously having the British kind of understanding of football, he obviously really worked on my technique and then again also helped the kind of physical side of my game. So for me, I learned a lot working under Phil, and he's someone that obviously I respect massively in football.
Of course, it's been a while since you played at Carson-Newman, but have y'all been ever with new social media and stuff? Have y'all been able to kind of keep up with each other? Have you been able to talk to some of those teammates that you've had, just kind of keep in touch after all these years?
Yeah, absolutely. It's so strange because I think I was a baby when I came out to Carson-Newman. I was like 16. And yeah, I still keep in touch with a lot of the girls. I still keep in touch with Phil. I live in Liverpool, so I remember being in the city one day and he literally walked past me and I had to stop the car. I was so surprised because I was like, what is the chances of me seeing him? He was going to Liverpool games in a grade. So yeah, it was really nice to see him. And then I've obviously kept in touch with a lot of the girls, and some have came to visit over the years, so which has been lovely. And I'm still really close, obviously, with Big Julie Nelson, who I played against a couple of weeks ago, well, about 6 weeks ago, which was really nice. So yeah, I think that's obviously one of the nicest things about social media, is being able to keep in touch and see how everyone's doing.
Recently, in national level, you reached your 70th cap with the Scottish national team. How big of that is just, first of all, just to be in that situation, of course, something you've dreamed of, and now 70 times you get capped. That's quite an achievement and quite amazing.
Yeah, I think I hadn't really thought about it until obviously it came around. And if you'd asked me when I was like 16, 17, would I have 70 caps? I would be like, I don't think so. So it's obviously a huge honour for me to be able to wear, obviously, the Scottish jersey and obviously be part of some of the big moments for us pushing the women's game on in Scotland. So yeah, it's pretty cool.
Over the past few years, talking about growing the women's game, it's grown here in America with the NWSL. Overseas, what have you seen, seeing the women's game grow? How's it grown over in Scotland and in the UK?
Well, it's fully professional now in England, at least the top team and the top league, and probably over half or 3/4 of the league below as well, which is brilliant. Scotland now have several teams that are fully professional as well, which is amazing. So yeah, it's been really good to be part of that and be part of the game that whilst it's fully professional. Yeah, it's been amazing. So it just hopefully it can continue to grow, and again, the infrastructure around it all as well continues to grow with sponsorship and visibility. And the league now in England is supported by Sky. Sky bought the rights for it, so the games will all be on television, which again is huge. So I'm just hopeful that will continue to help push the game on here in England.
And of course, you probably think there's probably a lot of young girls that may look up to y'all like you did so many years ago. Have you ever just kind of had to stop and think about, there are a ton of people that really kind of look up to me, and has it kind of ever taken you aback sometimes on the pitch?
Not really. A little bit sometimes, like more so if I go and watch any of the kids playing at the local grassroots level, or if I go and watch our like academy kids playing, it's pretty cool because they can then have the opportunity to ask you some questions, and they've got someone there that they can bounce off of. So yeah, it's kind of nice.
Awesome. Well, of course, future goals for this year, of course, Birmingham City season coming up. What are kind of your goals this year with the team?
For us, obviously, first and foremost, it's to stay in the league, to get off to a good start and get some points on the board early. And then hopefully have some obviously consistent performances and get a good run in the FA Cup and the Conti Cup. So yeah, I'm looking forward to it.
Awesome. Well, Christie, thank you so much for joining me today, and good luck this upcoming season with Birmingham City.
No, thank you very much for having me on.
I was Christie Murray here on this episode of Mossy Creek Conversations. For more about Carson-Newman Athletics, the Carson-Newman women's soccer team, you can head to seeandeagles.com.